Welcome to the Flight Simulator EL2 Cliffs of Dover. My name is Nada Zero. In this third video for the He-111 I'm showing how to use the Lotfe bombsight during an attack on the airfield of Hawkinge. Because the attack is going pretty fast, we are just jumping out of the real attack and we are having a look to the Lotfe and how it is used in a kind of a simulation. Before we do the real attack, we have a closer look to the Lotfe. So the Lotfe bombsight has a lot of dials for altitude, speed and drift. There are also indicators for the speed and the altitude, and the co-pilot can also control the autopilot with an additional switch directly here on the bombsight. The Lotfe needs exact speed, the exact altitude and the information about the drift. And before we look through the Lotfe, we can start by giving an estimation for the speed, for example, with the dial on the right side. I'm putting in the speed of, let's say, about 280. This is our actual speed. And I also need this dial for the altitude, and the altitude right now is 4.1 kilometers. So I'm using the dial to put in the 4.1 kilometers. This needs to be precise because this cannot be measured with a Lotfe. Now we jump into the sight itself, and here we can start to aim with this crosshair. We can use the control keys, Control 2 and Control 8 on the number part of the keyboard to move this crosshair up and down. And so we can select any kind of target. Like every ordinary bombsight, the crosshair is now moving over the ground, but the Lotfe is different. The Lotfe has an engine and it can track a target on the ground and so follow it until the point of releasing the bombs is reached. I'm now switching the bombsight on with Control 5, and now the Lotfe tries to focus on a certain point on the ground. Obviously this is not the case. If the crosshair moves to the right, the plane is drifting to the right. This means that the bombs will not drop on the vertical white line, they will drop right of it. So we can start to correct this with the Control 6 key, and I'm pressing this now several times. And now the Lotfe is watching more to the right until a point is reached where the Lotfe is watching exactly in the direction we are really flying. So I'm checking this, and if the crosshair is not moving again, then we are seeing the vertical white line, and this is now pointing to the points on the ground where we can drop the bombs when we fly straight forward. We can still move with Control 8 and Control 2 up and down, and so it's possible to aim in the vertical direction, and the horizontal direction is now correct. We can see that the crosshair is also moving a little bit up. This means that we are faster than the 280 kilometers per hour we had estimated. We can change this with the Control 7 key. This is increasing the estimated speed of the plane, or Control 1 if this is going into the other direction. So I'm now pressing Control 7 several times, and I'm doing this until the crosshair really remains on a certain point. Now I'm using the Control 8 key to select another target, because now it's possible to move the crosshair up and down as much as you like until you have selected the target you really want to hit. This is of course only possible on the white vertical line. If you want to hit a target which is left or right of this line, then you have to aim with the whole plane, and for this we have access to the autopilot, so we can click the autopilot to the left or to the right and aim with the whole plane until the vertical line is over the target, and then we need to move the crosshair with Control 8 and Control 2 until it's exactly over the target. And if speed, altitude and drift is correct, then we are going to hit the target, because the automatic Lotfe control is dropping the bombs at exactly the right moment. So here we are in the real attack. As we see, we are flying still on autopilot. We are reaching the waypoint, which is showing that the attack is beginning from here, and altitude and speed are perfect. So the next thing is switching to the second stage of the autopilot, and this is keeping the artificial horizon completely centered. This means that all three axes are controlled by the autopilot, and the autopilot is now doing this, and the only thing we can do is changing the direction for the autopilot, and with the throttle we can increase or decrease speed, which is also forcing the plane to climb or dive a little bit. But this plane is now lying very precisely and with very small movements in the air, so it's much easier to aim on a target. I'm now jumping to the co-pilot seat, and we are going to look to the Lotfe. The first thing we do is we increase the number of bombs which has to be dropped. I'm dropping all of them, and now we are doing the things we have seen before. So I'm putting in the speed. We are at 320, so I'm putting in 320 kilometers per hour. Our altitude is for not just 4,000 meters, so I'm putting in the altitude. We are just dropping a little bit because the stage 2 of the autopilot is increasing speed by just going a little bit down until it's going over to a level flight. So we are 3.9 kilometers above above ground, and now we can jump into the Lotfe side and do the rest we have seen before. So this is the Lotfe side. I'm now going with Control 2 down until we see the airfield we want to attack. It's this light green area there. The town is here on the left. The airfield is here, and we have here the cliffs of Dover, so it's easy to find if you fly from this direction and attack Hawkinge. So we are almost perfect on target. I'm changing a little bit to the left, and now it's time to open the bomb doors. I'm going out of the Lotfe for this. You don't have to do this, you have to assign keys. On the left you see the handle for the bomb doors, and if this is turned they are opening up. And you also need a key to make the bombs sharp, and this cannot be seen here, so you need a key and press this, and you have to know this. So let's go in again. The crosshair has moved up because the Lotfe hasn't been switched on. So we are now a little bit left of the airfield. I'm taking right to the autopilot and going down a little bit again, and now we are almost perfect, so it's time to switch on the automatic. So now it's time to watch if the crosshair is moving to the left, to the right, up or down. And I'm just doing this. I have done another correction with the autopilot, and now I'm waiting until it has calmed down and I can see if the crosshair is moving. And it's going a little bit up, and I'm correcting this, but we are almost perfect. The target is now coming closer and closer, and the angle of the Lotfe, which is going steeper and steeper to the target, and so it's easier to do small changes and correct the aiming. to the left and to the right with autopilot, and it's also still possible to go up and down with Control 8 and Control 2. Here we see our targets. There are some planes waiting to start on the ground, on the airfield, and as you see we are almost perfect on them. The triangles on the left of the bomb sites are moving down more. This is the angle the Lotfe is looking down, and at a certain point, and the automatic knows the point, the bombs are released. So I'm doing the last little switch up, and now it's the time that the bombs are going to be dropped. Unfortunately we can see this from inside and we don't have some indicator for this, but from outside it looks like this. The bombs are dropping. I have the default timing between the bombs, so they are dropping with about a second. This can be changed in the Lotfe bomb site too. So the bombs are out. We are looking down from outside and we can see the bombs on the ground exploding. There we see some hits, and obviously we have hit some of the targets. So now it's time to close the bomb doors and to fly home. But this is actually ending this part of the tutorial. So the next part will show how to fly home, how to look for the fuel management, and how to land the He-111. Before we end this video, we look to the ground and see what's happening to our targets.
Flugzeugführer, Wellington, auf 6 Uhr unterhalb.
And once again from a different angle.
Flugzeugführer, Wellington, auf 6 Uhr unterhalb. Ja, 6. Flugzeug im Kleinquadrat, Anton, Paula, 8.